Hi, my name is Patrick Ediger, and I'm the principal designer of Patrick Ediger Interior Design. I'm based in Los Angeles, California, and I'm also a co-founder of French American Wallpaper. We're a boutique wallpaper company, also based right here in California. My background's in theater, and my education is in theater arts, and I focused on set design and directing. So after school, I did a lot of during school, after school, I did a lot of summer stock theater, and I started really getting into scenic painting. And that led me to do scenic painting for local theaters, and that led me to do decorative painting, like Venetian plaster, trompe-l'oeil, things like that, and I started working for other interior designers. And during that time, I made friendships with them, and I really started to recognize that, you know what, I think I would rather be the visionary in this situation than the technician. So that, that stuck with me, and I moved to Los Angeles in 2004, 20 years ago, actually this month, and I got a few odd jobs doing some scenic painting and things like that, and kind of recognized pretty quickly that that was a pretty hard lifestyle. I thought, you know what, I've had this idea of interior design in the back of my mind for a very long time, and I'm gonna pursue that. I just happened to find an interview with a smaller company, and they were they had just joined forces themselves. It was two designers, and they were looking for a design assistant. And so they hired me, and I started really at the bottom with them as a design assistant, and worked my way up over the course of about 5 years to design lead. And then I went out on my own. It was about 4 or 5 years after we'd met that I left my company, started doing my own thing, and during that time working with my previous company, I had experience creating wallpaper, using wallpaper. I mean, this was in the mid-2000s, 2004, 2005, 2006, when wallpaper was having, its comeback, its resurgence. And so I think I just approached him one day and said, hey, do you want to start creating some designs together? And there was really never an intention for a business. I think that was kind of a pipe dream. I thought, we could put these things out and see what happens. But we just started creating designs together. And that led to a focus on muralized style designs. So all of our wallpapers are in mural style. They're sold in panels, and we print digitally as well, so everything's on demand, and we do a lot of custom work for hotels and restaurants and commercial spaces, as well as we have a standard line we sell through Una Milan showroom here in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Our field, especially in Southern California, has become very, very oversaturated with designers, and not just with designers, with really, really excellent designers. And so the way we go about getting work is very, very different than when I started. I think that for the first 5, 6, 7 years of my business, everything was word of mouth. Everything was referral. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've had to put so much more time and effort and money into marketing my business and myself than I ever did before. And I think it's because more and more people are wanting to be able to understand you, see you, research you, figure you out online themselves, versus just taking the word of somebody else. And so a lot more time and a lot more effort is put into that. And then I think the third thing that is really, really challenging is, and I would call this the existential element, is that, and part of this is my own awakening, part of this is the awakening that our industry has had, is the overwhelming amount of waste that our industry is producing, both in the construction and in the furnishing sides of things. And a lot of that has to do with the lack of quality in the materials and in the furniture. And so many things are going into, you know, landfills, and so many things are being wasted. And it is, to me, what the next 20 or 30 years of our industry is going to be about, correcting that issue. My grandfather was in the military. My grandmother was an officer's wife. And they lived in, they were stationed in Western Europe, post-World War II, really the early 40s through the late 50s. And that's where my mom and her siblings were born. And during that time, my grandmother, you know, had time to go out, and her hobby became antiquing. And, you know, designing and filling their home with the things that she found. And so, as a kid, I don't know that I really recognized how special they were. It was more things that were subliminally seeping into me. And, but it was just something that I was surrounded with in my childhood. And so I've always had this connection to specifically, you know, Western European antiquity. And my favorite eras are the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. Designers like Jean Rier, Gio Ponte, Hernan Kanoff, things from, you know, France, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden. But just really, you know, these designers actually made things that were for and of the people. My focus, especially in the last few years, has really been on working specifically with clients with older homes. So, you know, that kind of comes in two forms. One is, you know, a client buys an amazing 1920s, 30s old Spanish home that has been remodeled, you know, 15 times over the decades and is barely recognizable anymore. And we're turning back the clock and creating a home that feels more of the vintage of the house. And then the other is, you know, working with the older homes that have been well preserved, but then infusing them with contemporary sensibilities, with kitchens and bathrooms that meet, you know, my clients' lifestyles. And so that really has become my focus. The other thing I'm working on right now is a book on sustainable interior design, and I'm slowly taking my time with it. It's, you know, it's one of those topics that when I started this project, it's my you know, naivety that I thought, oh, this will be, you know, something that just rolls out of me. And the longer I've worked on it, the more I've recognized that we are just scratching the surface of this subject. I originally went to school to be a vocal performance major. My formative years was filled with theater and musical theater, and when I went to college, I thought, this is what I'm going to do with my life, and I still love it. But I think after I got to college, I recognized how many people are extremely talented in that area, and B, that it wasn't, you know, going to music theory classes, taking piano lessons, taking vocal lessons, eating, sleeping, drinking music just wasn't my passion. And so I, you know, ended up next door at the theater building, where I did really find something that was a driving passion.